Ty has led quite an illustrious and storied career in the semiconductor industry over the past 30 years, gaining early experience in high-impact architect roles at the likes of Motorola, Cyrix, SGI, and Alchemy Semiconductor. Ty went on to leadership positions at ARM's Austin Design Center and managed IC engineering for TI's OMAP processor group. He was VP of IC engineering at Altera and then led FPGA design after the acquisition by Intel before he moved to Arteris to lead the technology roadmap as their CTO and advisor. Ty helped lead Austin-based Mythic as their VP of engineering, where he led the development of the first neural network accelerator based on analog computation. And in addition to all of these milestones, Ty earned his name on more than 40 patents, published over 40 articles that have seen thousands of collective citations, and has contributed regularly to Forbes Technology Council. He's now the founder and president of the fast-moving startup Condor Computing, where he and his team promise to deliver the most advanced and powerful RISC processors. So Ty, I'm excited for you to be here today, and I have one question to lead us off. Is there anything you haven't gotten to work on in your career?
Thanks, Justin. I really appreciate you inviting me to have a chat that I haven't gotten to work on. I have never worked on a GPU. The graphics was a thing in the 90s that I actually interviewed with Jensen in like 98. And I decided to stay with CPUs and did not join NVIDIA at that time, so I'm still poor. Yes, that's one area that I haven't gotten a chance to play in. But a lot of other ones I've gotten to dabble and learn a lot.
Awesome. Well, starting back in the early days, what got you into engineering to begin with?
It's, I was a typical nerd as a kid. I was really into science fiction. I was a little advanced in school for my age, so I was small and otherwise not totally socially welcome for a long time. It gave me a lot of opportunity to read and learn, and so I went to university thinking I wanted to be a astrophysicist. So that was my thing. I wanted to eventually get a PhD in physics and focus on the stars. Then I learned that that was hard. So my first year of undergrad, I was like, this is not going to work for me. What can I do with all these credit hours of science and math that still sounds fun? And so I looked around and I went into CS for a little while, and then I landed in EE, and I was like, hey, this works. This is fun. I still get to learn how to do cool things, build new things, and I went just straight from there.
Awesome. Would you kind of give the audience a walkthrough of your career and how it has arced to being the president of Condor?
Yeah, I've been just super lucky and blessed in my career. I came out of university as a bachelor's, from a relatively lesser known university, Southern Methodist in Dallas. And I landed with what was at the time the premier design team in the world, the 68,000 processor design team for Motorola in Austin. I didn't know it at the time, of course. I just was like, hey, I got a job. Cool. I need to move to Austin. But it was a time of tremendous progress in microprocessors, and I happened to land in ground zero. And the team was growing rapidly. There was all kinds of challenges, and I was just given carte blanche to pick up everything from circuit design to layout to logic design to test development to microcode development to verification to everything you could think of. And so I got a very broad background very quickly with that team, learning from some of the best engineers in the world. And so very quickly, in a couple of years, I was able to move to a technical leadership position and try to get involved with next gen products. like the 88,000 family that was that eventually became part of PowerPC. And then by that time I was doing my master's at UT and I was studying computer architecture. So I decided I wanted to move that direction. And the transfer to Cyrix in Dallas, which was developing the first clean room x86 clone, gave me an opportunity to do both, carry on with circuit design and chip design, but then move more and more towards architecture. So that was a huge opportunity to join a startup. I was 22 or 23 to join and be part of a team that did something that had never been done before, to make a true compatible x86.
And then, and how did that progression then lead you to Condor and being the president of Condor?
So that helped me learn about startups, continue to develop my architecture background, and then I moved to various companies to become a manager over time. Silicon Graphics, the MIPS team at Silicon Graphics, and as you mentioned in your opener, ARM, TI. Progressively growing in terms of my role for both technical leadership, but also team size. And so what that gave me a chance to do is learn how to build teams. I think I've built 5 teams in Austin from scratch, from zero now, to build different either SoC or microprocessors or whatever. And I really enjoy that. And so I've had the opportunity to do that over the years, and that set me up then to take advantage of an opportunity to get back into CPU, to take advantage of the RISC-V wave, and really see if I could build a team that could do something extraordinary in a short period of time, and set a new benchmark for performance and power in high performance RISC-V computing.
Wow. Well, could you imagine going from small and maybe not socially accepted to building multiple teams from scratch?
Probably not. I am still much of an introvert, and it does take a lot of energy for me to get with people. I enjoy the problem solving aspects. I enjoy the coming up with new stuff and creating new things, but it has been an acquired skill to figure out how to deal with people and help them in their work and help them grow in their careers.
I'm going to go down this rabbit hole a little bit further. So, a common misconception is that leaders are all extroverts or are generally extroverts. How would you say that you've leveraged your introversion to actually make you a better leader?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know that it makes me a better leader. Maybe it helps me understand, a lot of the people that I work with who are engineers are often introverts and are often not the first people to speak up or say something and offer feedback. So early in my career, I was not perhaps the most empathetic human being, and so I had to really make an effort to reach out of myself and try to look for feedback, to gather, to get people into the process, to bring them into the discussion. And that's still something I have to work at, to not just go and do what I want to do and say this is what we should do, and so that's an everyday challenge still for me. But so maybe it's helped me understand where other people are coming from, but it really is something that is a constant energy that you have to put into every day.
So Condor is one of the key players that we at SBT believe will be a winner in the AI machine learning, the accelerated compute space. As president, what made you decide to be all in on this sector?
Mm-hmm. So at least to start, Condor's mission is to establish a new level of computing performance and relative to energy consumption that can put RISC-V computing on a hopefully even keel with ARM and close to x86 leaders, so that the industry can have a choice of what to base the mainstream computing parts of their AI applications on. All AI accelerators, I came from an accelerator background. Right now, almost all accelerators need a host. And right today, the host is an x86 server, almost always. Some of the other AI accelerator companies have started down the path of developing proprietary high-performance RISC-V CPUs for use with their accelerators on chip, so they can get rid of that host and the cost of the host in the system. But I think what we can do with a licensable high-performance core is enable many more players to get into the market by bringing their AI knowledge to an SoC that our chip, our CPU can serve as the high-performance core, and they don't need to develop that as well. These are two different challenges, and very few companies have been able to do both high-performance computing and AI computing. So if we can make it so that some other companies can really just focus on what they do well in terms of AI computing, machine learning, and then add that to, or add our CPU to their innovation, I think we can enable more solutions to come to the market more quickly.
Absolutely. And having more players, one of the things that's exciting about this space is that there won't be one clear winner, because I think we're quickly finding out that having different solutions for different applications is a necessity. And a question. So democratization of AI is something that I care deeply about, and it sounds like it's something that is part of Condor's mission. No?
Yeah, and to make it possible for more and more players to get involved. Now, today, democratization means everybody uses NVIDIA, and you build your, a lot of different people can build their software on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a way forward, and that makes a certain number of people very, very wealthy. But I think to really get to the next level of performance per unit energy, which we really need, given the size of these models with billions of parameters, and how much energy and cost it takes to train them and to run inference on them in real time. Creating opportunities for more people to bring their solutions to that space can only help ease the burden that AI is going to put on the world in terms of energy consumption. I think I read somewhere where AI is already like 1 or 2% of world energy consumption, and we're really just getting started with some of these big LLM models today. So we need to find a different way to enable high volume mass inference.
Absolutely, and that is a great segue into I think what I know would be the answer. But assuming that your team's successful, what societal impact do you feel like the solution would be?
I don't know. I don't know if I dream that big. If I would be really excited, like I said, if somebody can come up with a solution that is substantially differentiated to whatever's out there today, and base that solution on a chip that also leverages our technology in a way that they couldn't have without our IP being available to them as a licensable unit. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I've always found interesting to see. How do the customers use my chip or my IP to solve problems that I never would have dreamed of, right? It's just amazing what people come up with when you give them the tools.
Yeah.
And I really can't even envision what that might be. But I think if we make it available, if it's competitive, if it addresses the need and does it better than anything else out there, then I think we can make a difference in some of the outcomes.
Where do you envision the AI and accelerated compute industry growing the most over the short term, the 12, 18 months?
That's an interesting, wow. I thought you were going to go long term and you can get the curveball. In the short term. So I'm a bit of a skeptic on the the chat GPT thing in the everyday life. I think what I've seen recently and even last few weeks is some stories about how the initial 100 million signups on chat GPT have already started to tail off a little bit as people played with it, as I have, and kind of went, okay, that's cool. I guess I can, if I ever want to write an essay for high school again, I can dial it up. But I also know a lot of people that are using it successfully to help with creative writing. There's some really interesting new modules that I think were released for Llama that can help with coding, PyTorch and C. So those types of applications I think are going to make a big difference as people learn how to use them well. And I think that could be an interesting, very short-term application. But I think it might take longer for Microsoft and Google and Meta to really integrate these things into the larger tool offerings in a way that makes a difference to productivity in any significant way. It's the increase in compute cycles to do a chat GPT search versus a Google search is exponential. I mean, so a while back, I read that when Amazon started rolling out Alexa, they realized that if they had to roll all the spoken words back to the data centers, and people actually started using Alexa a lot, they'd need like 100 more data centers to handle it. So they had to push a significant amount of the symbol recognition out to the phone or the device, whatever the speaker, and to just filter that first level of stuff out. And I think that may still be something that has to happen, where there's some collaboration between edge AI and data center AI that's necessary to handle the workload and also ease the burden on all of our communication networks.
Got it. So founding a startup or a startup organization and leading one, growing one, there's always going to be challenges. What in these early days of growing Condor, what are the things that are keeping you up at night right now?
So we've been doing remarkably well. It's almost to the point of people ask me, what do I worry about at night? I mean, I don't worry about it at night. What I worry about is that I might wake up tomorrow and then suddenly something will go wrong because nothing significant has gone wrong yet. I'm like, they're just waiting. What we're starting to see, I think, is something you're very familiar with, is a little bit more of a challenging recruiting environment. So in the first half of the year, we were one of the few interesting companies that were aggressively hiring for this type of role. And I was able to bring on a really stellar team and luckily I was able to fill most of my senior and leadership positions. But now we're starting to see some of the big companies jumping back in. They laid off a bunch of people, over the last 12 months, and now they're kind of going, oh, we need to go hire some more people again. And they're jumping back in with the same stupid compensation packages that didn't make sense back then. They don't make sense now, and it's really a challenge to compete with.
Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that's an area where we're in agreement with. When you say the stupid compensation packages, it didn't make sense then and don't make sense now. Can you elaborate?
Oh, I don't know. It's God bless the folks that are getting those offers and can, hope they understand that those big companies laid people off the last time things got weird, and they'll do it again as soon as things get weird again. It's there's no way that you can, justify paying a 7 to 10 year engineer what a VP of engineering would make at other companies. It's just, but they can afford it, so they do it, and then you kind of have to say, well, yeah, good for you, man. Let's go find the next guy.
What are some creative things that you and your team are doing to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so what we really are looking for is people that want to be part of building something from scratch. You can go to these bigger companies with huge salary packages, but you're plugging yourself into an existing structure, a program that exists generally, a big, huge company that has a way of doing things that you're going to have to learn and grow within. That's a good thing for some people, and if that's where you're at in your career, that's awesome. What I'm really looking for is people that want to come in and use all of their experience, all of their background and knowledge to do something from scratch in a way that we think is the best possible way to get the job done, most efficiently, most quickly, and with the no bugs and highest performance. So we're the opportunity to be a part of creating that new culture, new methodologies, new architecture is something that we try to share with candidates, and those candidates that are interested in that are the ones that we wanted anyway. So that's our differentiation, hopefully.
That's excellent. We talked a little bit about what keeps you up at night. Unfortunately, you're getting good sleep right now. On the flip side, what's been the most exciting market reaction or feedback that you've received thus far in the early stages?
To be honest, your reaction is the most exciting. We have intentionally been quiet. We don't have any interest right now in driving a lot of attention, other than to find and connect with candidates who might join the team. So we have not been putting a lot of energy into putting out the message about Condor and what we're trying to do. And so it was very heartening when you found us and highlighted us in your list. And I really appreciate that, because that shows that you are really in touch with the market and what's going on. So probably later in the year we'll be going out and talking to customers, engaging on what could be our first design wins and that kind of stuff. But right now we're pretty internally focused, and so the thing that I find most positive is the word of mouth that I hear about from people that I know or people that we contact for recruiting, and they say, "Oh yeah, I've heard about Condor. That sounds cool." And knowing that that's out there is a huge positive, because you feel like at least the first step of that engagement is done. Some of these folks, the target folks, know what you're doing, maybe know somebody who's already here, and are already inclined to at least have a chat about how they could help.
Got it. And if we're to look at it more broadly, not just at Condor, but throughout your career as a leader, there's always going to be challenges with building a company or building an organization. If there were one or two leadership challenges that you have faced, or leadership lessons that you've learned that you would share, what would those be with a future leader?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to put a unpaid plug in here for a book I just finished recently. It's called Scaling People by Claire Hughes Johnson. She was, I guess maybe she still is, COO at Stripe and was an early player at Google. And she wrote a great book about building teams, managing teams, and leading teams, and managing yourself. And I think the thing that I've always emphasized since my own attempt to metamorphose into a manager has been self-awareness. So I think there's a number of books about emotional EQ, emotional awareness, and what I've always tried to encourage leaders that work with me is to get to know themselves, get to know their strengths, get to know their weaknesses, get to know how other people see them, how other people perceive them, even if that's not how they want to be perceived, just to understand how the reality of how that's happening. And so that is the number one recommendation I have for anyone who wants to be a leader, even if they're not a manager, even you just want to be a technical leader, an influencer, is to know thyself, be aware of the impact that you have on people. Because if you don't, you do what I did early in my career, and you kind of blunder around and show off how cool you are and how much you know, and okay, that gets you so far, but it doesn't get people to want to work with you, for you, or follow you.
Got it.
So that's one. That's the one area. And the other area I would say is there's a saying, have an attitude of gratitude, and I interpret that to mean not only to be thankful for everything I have and all the opportunities I've had over the years, but to always take advantage of any opportunity that you have to help someone in any way. And the attitude of gratitude means helping people with no expectation of getting anything in return. To just give that help freely. And what I found is that creates relationships, friends, multi-decade acquaintances in the industry, and creates opportunities for fun, work, innovation that you never would have known. There's a lot of literature research that the difference between lucky people and unlucky people is simply whether you're open to the opportunities that come at you every day. And so, being open to those things, being willing to engage with people, help people, I think creates luck. And I've seen that all through my career.
Thank you for that. Now, going back to the AI machine learning space, you must be aware of the increasingly loud detractors that voice their strong opposition to AI machine learning because of the sheer power of the technologies and concerns about their destructive implications. What safeguards do you think should be put in place to help ensure that the technology is leveraged for constructive purposes that are beneficial to society and broadly available?
So I've been reading some of the articles, I guess there's a number of the leading AI scientists that are putting out guidelines of how things should be done. Gary Marcus, Andrew Ng, a few others. I guess initially I would say that I am a doubter when it comes to AGI, artificial general intelligence. I tend to agree with Gary Marcus and some others that way we're currently approaching AI is not it's not suddenly going to metamorphose into Terminator style entities that can autonomously think and plan for themselves. It's not how what we're doing works. What we're doing is essentially really good pattern matching. And if we're just creating opportunities to put more and more compute on the pattern matching. Great, fun, cool. It does a lot of interesting things. But I don't know that it's going to take over the world. The real potential negatives come when human beings are fooled by the apparent infallibility or the presentation of infallibility that sometimes these tools can have, where people just type something into ChatGPT, they take the app and go, okay, this must be real, and then ChatGPT will just hallucinate about 20% of the time and make stuff up, right? And I mean, this is inherent to the current implementation of the technology. It just does. And you see there's some big companies that have been using it to write news stories, or I saw one about a lawyer that got fined for using AI to write some briefs because they were just totally nonsensical, and he didn't bother to check it. And so because people confuse absolute computing, where we add 2 + 2 to make 4, or we calculate the best trajectory to get to the moon with AI, they right now many people believe that AI is the same, and that I think is maybe the biggest concern I have is people thinking that this technology is too foolproof and giving it too much leeway. Just any truly autonomous physical object, I'm really nervous about. I don't know that I would ever want to be in a high-speed autonomous vehicle around a bunch of other not autonomous vehicles. I don't know. I think we have to be really wary of truly autonomous weaponry, right? Because who knows what it'll decide to do on any given day. 99% of the time it's probably okay, but what's that 1%?
I don't want to be there either. So,
yeah.
A burning question that is very polarizing amongst many leaders in the semiconductor hardware space in general revolves around remote work. Curious your thoughts on it.
So Condor today is fully hybrid, I think, is the industry lingo today, these days. We are open to wherever in the North American time zones an engineer wants to be. And so I tend to think that we've evolved the co-work tools capabilities enough to where if people are in reasonably similar time zones to where they can have an expectation that there's going to be overlap 5 or 6 hours of the day, they can probably get stuff done together. Working with the other side of the world is still tough. And so you really have to have a much more structured approach to, for the US teams working with Asia. But we're going to end up probably having about a third of the company being distributed from California to New England, and about 2/3 in the Austin area. And that's actually more than I thought we would have. I thought we would be more 50-50 when we were putting the company together. It's just where we have found the people has been Austin, which is I guess makes sense given how many microprocessor type folks there are in town. So yeah. I'm a big believer that we can get things done with remote work. It is challenging to build a culture to be able to create the work style that you want people to have, and that that's, I think, why, for us, it's not as big a deal because I'm hiring mostly very senior people, in most cases, people that at least one person on the team knows already, has worked with. And so we're able to grow, to the size we need to be within those constraints. I think if you're building a huge team, hundreds of people, and you're hiring new college grads or very junior people, and you're having to hire people that, okay, good candidate, but no, don't know you. Maybe then you really have to put some rules into place to say, okay, let's create forced opportunities to have mingling and physical proximity.
Do you have any concerns that with the proliferation of hybrid and work from home that happened over the last 3+ years, that the engineer coming out of school, or the one that only had a couple of years of experience, that their growth is being stunted?
Absolutely. I think about how hard it would have been for me. I mean, God, the opportunity I had to mix and mingle with those senior engineers in Motorola that I mentioned was just tremendous. I could pop over to their cube and ask stupid questions, and they would humor me, and I don't know how I could have possibly gotten the same growth in those first few years. My son came out of Georgia Tech Masters right at the beginning of COVID. And so he was not in the office for the first year and a half. Now, he was very lucky that he had done co-op terms with that team. So he knew the people, had a relationship with them for the most part. But I can see that it was tough on him to get to feel like he was part of the team, like he really understood what he was doing, and so I think it's a super challenge for these young folks today to figure out how to make it work, and we have not yet hired at Condor, and it's been a while since I've hired a new college grad. So we're going to have to figure out how to make that work when we do bring in a couple of younger folks here later this year. They'll probably have to be in Austin. They'll probably have to have local managers that can work with them 2-3 times a week, and local team members that can support them. And we'll have to build that infrastructure for them to help them be successful.
Well, now there's over, last count, I think 195 companies that have been founded in the hardware, AI, machine learning, accelerate compute space. What makes Condor different, and how do you plan to capitalize on what is clearly a growing movement?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of those companies have been established to compete in some way with NVIDIA for training cycles or inference cycles. And as I mentioned earlier, that's a tough sled, especially on the training side. I think on inference, some companies are eventually going to break through, and we'll see some players, eventually get some market share. But the software and moat that NVIDIA has built is just really tough to overcome. But I think once some of these players really establish a highly differentiated power performance point, something will happen there. We are hoping to be kind of selling picks and shovels to the miner type of thing. We're not really looking to pick a winner. We'd love to facilitate a number of players, and then take off with any one that does win. So I think one of the differences for us is that we're not really competing with with almost all of those players right now. We really compete with a very small number of companies that are actively licensing high performance CPUs. And so, I think that we can compete with those other companies licensing CPUs, and we can bring some differentiated architecture and microarchitecture solutions to the space, and then work with all those 195 companies that, however many of them, need the technology we're creating to really create their next generation solution that can maybe help them do better in their space.
Well, Ty, you're a prolific contributor on LinkedIn, and you often spotlight the work of engineers and leaders and what they're doing at other companies. Do you have any words of wisdom to other founders or potential founders or aspiring founders that on how to break into today's competitive market?
So I've done this is my fourth startup I've been a part of. This is really the first one that I've been a primary founder with. I think what people need to, or if you want to get into doing this, you need to search out experiences to broaden your background, broaden your understanding, and be able to handle a lot of different situations and scenarios. This is my first time really starting something from scratch. I had to go get condorcomputing.com domain. Somebody else was parked on it. I had to go figure out how to get it, and I had to figure out how to set up Slack and Confluence, and it's stuff that I'd never had to do before. But you just have to do it, and so being open to taking on those challenges and actually finding them fun in a weird way is part of being able to rise up and make something happen. Being aware of the industry, being aware of what's going on, what are the trends, where can you take your skills and make a difference, a disproportionate difference that people are going to want to pay you for. Those are the kind of things where awareness, and LinkedIn is great. I find it entertaining because I love to see what other people are doing. And I think it helps, or I know it has helped me over the years to, identify, the trends in the industry, understand, where people are going. And it helps me, like if I want to help somebody, get a job, I can say, oh, wow, I read this group over here just got funded. Why don't you go talk to them? And helps me create opportunity, not only for myself, but for others.
If you were to summarize, you've given a lot of different bits about what Condor is doing, why you're excited. If you had a chance to speak to the engineer at one of the large companies or at a smaller company who is happy where they're at, but open-minded to looking at something else, give them a 1-minute elevator speech why Condor should be it.
Look at Condor if you want to be on the leading edge of microprocessor design for high performance and power efficiency. And if you want to be part of the RISC-V revolution that is going to take over CPU computing over the next 5 to 10 years, I think a large number of unique sockets are going to become RISC-V. There still will be an entrenched, ARM space, and of course, x86 will be with us always. But the opportunities are going to go more and more to RISC-V because that's where the variety is going to be. So join the revolution of RISC-V and join it at the leading edge with an experienced team that can really make something happen quickly.
Awesome. And if people wanted to get in contact with you via social media or any other, how would you recommend, how would you ask for them to do that?
As you pointed out, I'm always available on LinkedIn. People ping me almost every day asking about what we're doing and how they can help. I'm happy, to engage with almost anyone. Please take a look at our website, www.condorcomputing.com. All of our jobs are posted there, and you can get a sense for what we're looking for to add to the team. We're about halfway to building the team that we need, and so we're very excited to talk to anyone that feels like they can help create the high performance CPU of the next generation for RISC-V.
Well, Ty, we are incredibly grateful for your time. We've learned a lot, not only about Condor, but about you personally, and excited to continue to bet on you and believe in you from afar.
Justin, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate you inviting me to talk with you, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much.